Welcome to Brand Lover, honest, real and lively conversations for flourishing entrepreneurs and budding business owners on a mission to cultivate a heartfelt brand that connects with their purpose-driven mission. My hope is that you walk away feeling inspired and refreshed with a weekly takeaway in your back pocket that you can apply to your life or business. Hello, beautiful, and welcome to my first ever solo episode of Brand Lover with me, Rachel Reiter. If you're new here, thank you so much for being here and welcome. I put it out to my Instagram community asking them what they would most love to hear from me about, and surprisingly, it's not specifically to do with branding, although my brand certainly facilitates this life that I've created. The main question that came up was about my journey through motherhood and building a business as my family has grown. So I will start at the very beginning and I will take you through my journey, and then I want to share with you 3 really important lessons that I've learned along the way from various mentors and lessons that I have had to learn and failures and wins, and sort of how I facilitate building a business whilst also striving to be ever present for my beautiful family. So I'll start by saying that I did always desire to be a stay-at-home mum. When I first started my business, I was 23 years old and I was working as well. And I really just started doing freelance graphic design work for friends and family, and then it naturally grew. So I wasn't intentional at all. But in the back of my mind, I was engaged. I was, my husband and I, or my then fiance and I were, we knew that we wanted to have a family one day. And in the back of my mind, I thought, okay, well, I will keep working at building this because it will be really great to one day be able to perhaps work at home if we ended up having some children, which would have, we were really looking forward to that, and that's sort of how it started. And it got to the point in that business that I was able to resign from my full-time position and work at it full-time, and I was very grateful for that. So I've been working at home for well over 10 years. And I love it. I was never the type to really want to climb the corporate ladder. I had no desire to do that. I really had no desire to be an entrepreneur at the time that all of this started, to be honest. It just sort of, to me, it was always, as I said, that sort of the avenue, the tool that was going to allow me to be a stay-at-home mum and still keep my hand in this industry that I really loved. So even though I wasn't that conscious of it then, I was already thinking about building a lifestyle that suited me. And I look back and I just want to high-five myself back then because I really had no idea what I was doing. So let's fast forward a little bit, because then we did actually start our family, and the identity shift that comes with becoming a mother after living a fairly free lifestyle of working at home barefoot with my puppy, who, if you're watching on YouTube, you will see asleep in the background here. She's still with me. It was quite the challenge, and I really did struggle through that because I really loved the freedom of the life that I had created, and having a newborn baby, as if you're a mother, it's one of the scariest, most rewarding jobs in the whole world. But your time is no longer your own. And that was something that I really struggled with. I struggled with the lack of control, and even though all of my dreams had come true with this precious baby girl, it was very hard for me to adjust. And I am grateful that I still had my work, because that was something that was mine. It was something that I could immerse myself in, and I still felt that that was a part of my life that I could have full control over. So, found my feet eventually, and fast forward a little bit further. I'm not going to bore you with all of the minute details, but it came a time where we have 4 daughters, so obviously my time was, it was more in that season, it was more about raising the babies. And it came a time where my doctor basically ordered me to stop working, because I was experiencing a high risk pregnancy at the time. And so it was time to close that chapter, and it was time to hibernate that business. I didn't close it, I hibernated it, because I really, really knew that I wanted to come back to it one day. So I spent this period of hibernation as a stay-at-home mum. And while my younger self thought that was all I wanted to be, my goodness, that was a struggle. I love my babies. I would do anything for them. I am so grateful that I can be at home with them. But there was something lacking in my life, and I needed to do something that was for me, that was mine. And so fast forward a little bit more, and Hopscotch Branding Studio was born. I knew that starting work again with a very young family of 4 beautiful little girls was going to take my time away from my family. And so I wanted to create a business, a brand that was meaningful, and I wanted to do it with intention. And I wanted to absolutely adore what I was doing. I didn't want to be a mouse pusher. I didn't want to be dictated to. I wanted freedom. I wanted creative freedom. I wanted freedom in my life. I wanted to make my own rules. I had an incredible moment of clarity where it was either going to be like that or it wasn't going to be happening at all. And that's how I came to be so intentional about brand building, and building a brand that works for you, that lights up your soul, that is in alignment with the bigger vision that you have for your life. Because that's how I did it, and I learned from the lessons and the mistakes that I had made in that previous business that I had, that I didn't want to do work that I didn't enjoy. And so as the girls grew, my business grew with it. And at the start, I would just, chip away at building my website while the girls were having their nap, or I would do some illustration work in the 5 minutes that the pasta was boiling on the stove. And I'm getting emotional now just thinking about it, but I was so passionate about building this brand that I would just find the time in the nooks and crannies. And it was my saving grace. It was mine. It was the thing that kept me sort of feeling purposeful. Not that I'm saying that raising babies is not purposeful, and I know that being a stay-at-home mum is an incredible blessing, and I know that some women are called to be stay-at-home mums. I'm just point, this is my journey and this is how it worked for me. So you do you, and I'm just sharing my journey, and sort of I will get into those 3 lessons that I learned in a minute. But so as I expanded my client base and I was doing more work, it's all about seasons. It's all about sort of always being conscious of the season that you're in and allowing yourself to grow and allowing yourself to be open to new ways of doing things, and also be conscious of what's going to be best overall for your family. And I'm talking about things like, as your business grows and you're finding it stressful to fit in all the things, maybe it's time to ask the grandparents if they can take the kids for a day, which is what happened with me. Or maybe it's time to let some things go in the business and allow the growth to be slow. It's just sort of finding that flow, and sometimes the flow of your business will be faster and sometimes it will be slower, and it all just sort of, for me, it all revolves around the whole family unit and how I can allow myself to simultaneously serve my incredible community and do the work that I love, but also being incredibly mindful of being present as a mum and as a wife, because those 2 things are probably the most important to me. So I am so grateful. I am so grateful for every misstep, for every failure, every lesson, because each one of those has led me to understand myself and my own personal values on a deeper level. So what I'd love to do is to share with you 3 lessons to becoming the best version of you as a mum or a woman as in business. This doesn't apply to just mums, but this is my experience. Because after becoming a mum, that was when I experienced the most personal growth and enlightenment, I suppose. And it's still a journey that I'm on, but hopefully I can give you some insight into how you can be more conscious of the woman, the business owner, the wife, the mother that you are becoming. So number 1, you might want to get a pen. Number 1, values first. Always, 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 always. And those of you who have worked with me, you know that brand values always come first in your brand, but we're speaking overall life. We're talking personal values. So once you discover your true personal values, you will gain perspective on what's most important. And this includes your relationships, your work, your business, your hobbies, your commitments, and your friendships. Mine are my faith, my family, my freedom, and I'm talking time freedom, and my business. My faith feeds all of these. My business feeds my family, I guess literally, but my family lifestyle, and my freedom, my time freedom. And yes, you might have noticed that I haven't mentioned finances, and I'm going to get into that a little bit more in a minute. Number 2, prioritize. Always, always prioritize based on your values. Constantly scan your life. Know the season that you're in accept change, learn from the lessons, and keep moving forward. Forgive yourself. Something that I've found with seasons is that they change so frequently that quite often you might find yourself doing what has worked for a season in a new season. And this is when you start to feel misaligned, or you might start to forget your values, or you might sort of be really pushing against a brick wall and wondering why things aren't working quite so well anymore. It's usually because you've found yourself in a new season and you haven't recalibrated. So come back to your values and your priorities. And your priorities include placing boundaries. Another thing that I've learned, and I did touch on it before, is that allow your business to grow up with your babies. If you're anything like me, you may be addicted to your business. And it's very exciting to see your business grow. But sometimes you need to pull back a little bit so that you don't miss those precious moments of your family life and your babies growing up. This is something that's really important to me. And so hopefully that's helpful to you as well, that it's okay. It's okay to take baby steps. Give yourself permission to grow at your own pace. It's not a race. So don't push one way or another. And as soon as you let go and accept the pace, and the pace will change, it sort of may speed up for a while, and then it will slow down for a while, and then it'll speed up for a while, depending on what's going on. But as soon as you do that and accept the pace that just naturally comes along with being a mum in business, your business will grow as it should. Everything will work out as it's supposed to. So don't put too much pressure on yourself, but make sure you are always checking in with your priorities and being strong in your boundaries. So this is number 3, and it's incredibly important, is to set your goals based on your own version of success. I never, ever started out wanting to earn 6 figures. That has never been anything that I have written anywhere or, talked about or even considered, to be honest. Maybe I've had thoughts of, that would be nice one day. And I really do detest the terminology because you hear it a lot these days with business coaches. I don't resonate with the association of perceived success that surrounds this 6 figures, because it puts so much pressure on mums in business who are already trying to do so much. And for 6 figures to be the benchmark of success, that's quite unattainable, or it can be unattainable, particularly in the early years. And all that does is brings in a comparison mindset. And if you're not feeling like you're measuring up to that benchmark of success, it will make you feel like a failure. So I want you to push all of society's expectations of what success looks like and create your own version of success and base your goals around your version of success. For example, You might want to earn enough in your business to drop a day or two of your job, so that you might not send the kids to daycare that day, and you can go and play at the beach or have some fun together and work on your business, obviously. Your goal, your version of success might be that to take the family out for dinner once a week, or to go on a holiday, or to allow yourself a massage once a month, or enroll in yoga classes. Craft your lifestyle around your version of success. So whatever it is, make it something that you genuinely want and you will be ecstatic to achieve, regardless of society's expectations. And remember, your business is just a vehicle. It's a vehicle to allow you to create a life based on your values and what you perceive to be the most perfect lifestyle. So I hope that this insight has been helpful to you. I'm certainly a work in progress and I do not have everything figured out. It's a constant tweaking process, a balancing act, if you will, that doesn't result in balance necessarily, but in knowing your priorities, your values, and your boundaries so intimately that you can create space in your life for the things that matter. And that, my dear, is the beauty of being in business. So if you have not started your business, or you're in the early stages of brand building and you would like to have access to the formula that I have used to build my own brand and that I use with my incredible clients, I would love for you to go and check out my signature brand foundation course, Brand Alchemy. I used to offer Brand Alchemy only a few times a year, but I've recently created a self-paced version of the course that is available all the time, 24 hours a day, because I know that when you are starting your brand, you need access to this information right now. So if you would like to learn how to become the master of your brand and create a brand that facilitates a lifestyle that you want to create for yourself, go on over to brandalchemy.net and check it out. Thank you so much for being here today, and I will see you next week. If you loved listening to this week's episode, pretty please click subscribe so that you don't miss any future podcasts. Also, if you have just a minute, please feel free to leave a 5-star review wherever you're listening. I'd so appreciate it, and it will help spread this message further. Thanks for being here. I'll catch you next week.